These 2-ingredient gluten-free flatbread might be my favourite bread recipe to make, namely because they are so quick and easy, and look how soft and pliable they are. So for this version today, I've added some feta and sun-dried tomato, but honestly, they are so versatile, you can make them plain or add whatever flavours you like. First up, you need some self-raising gluten-free flour. If you don't have this, simply add baking powder to plain gluten-free flour. You'll need 1 teaspoon per 100 grams of flour. Then add some salt, stir it all together and add an equal amount of Greek yoghurt or natural yoghurt. Either of these work. You can use either a full fat one or a fat-free depending on what you fancy and what suits your goals. And then I'm adding in some chopped sun-dried tomato and some crumbled feta. But other things that work really well here is adding chopped garlic. You could add fresh herbs, you could add dried herbs. You could add cheese like cheddar to give a really cheesy flatbread. Anything you fancy, give them whatever flavour you like. Now you'll see this dough comes together quite easily. It's so quick to make. So I start off with a wooden spoon, and once it gets really claggy and a little bit sticky, I get in there with my hands and you can see it comes together in a nice smooth ball. It'll be a little bit sticky, which is why we're going to roll this between baking paper or cling film, whichever you fancy. Now I've made enough for 4 flatbreads, so I've divided my dough into 4 pieces. And then I'm going to roll it into a smooth ball with a little bit of flour and use my hands to press out the dough between the cling film or baking paper. Now for me, it doesn't have to be perfect. You could cut off the edges if you like, but I like my flatbreads to look a little bit rustic. And once you've flattened out your first flatbread, it's time to fry them. Get a dry frying pan nice and hot and simply turn your dough out into it. Give it about a minute on one side, flip it over and then give it a minute on the next. You want them to be nice and brown and they might puff up a little bit in the pan. But basically, we're going for flatbreads that are cooked on both sides and look gorgeous and golden like this. And once you've repeated the process with all your flatbreads, that is how simple it is to make. So I recommend wrapping the ones that you've cooked already in foil if you're doing these one at a time. And you can keep them, but they're definitely better when they're fresh. If you are going to keep them and you're making them ahead of time, I recommend that you give them a little microwave or perhaps a little refresh in the pan before you eat them. And then you can use them for scooping, you can stuff them with things, you can even use them as pizza bases. I'll put the full recipe in the description. Make sure you check out my channel for loads more gluten-free bread recipes.